Hello everyone, my name is Erick Tjandra and I'm from International Management BAS 2018 and my student ID number is B1024181029 and then my lecturer of OB in our OB class is Mr. Adi Mursalin. And then first of all, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Adi Mursalin as a lecturer OB. So in this video, I'd like to answer about the final exam of organizational behavior, and the answer is divided as three parts. So I would like to move for the first part. So the part A is about the question related to the activities as at Zoom meeting. So I would like to move for the first question. So explain what you have done at Zoom meeting at OB class for one semester. So during this one semester, I have done a lot of assignment, like delivering OB presentation in a chapter 7 about power and politics. From that material, I learned a lot of things that happen in the company and organization itself. For example, like a power is really needed in order to influence our teammates and our workers. Not only that, I also learned about the political that sometimes it occurs in the company or organization that happen to the individual in order to gain the individual profit in the bad ways. Besides I do a presentation, I also read an article that my lecturer asks to read, and then sometimes my lecturer give us some question, and then I sometimes ask the question as well. In the addition, I also hear and answer my friends' presentation when they deliver the material. So we would like to move to the next question. So, are you active in attending the class and Zoom meetings? Are you active in discussing the topics delivered by the presenters? So actually, I would like to say yes, because this during this one semester, I'm quite active in attending the class at the Zoom meeting, and I always present to the OB meeting, and because I want to learn a lot of things, and then I'm quite curious about the OB itself. And then the most important thing that I want to know about the point of view from my friends about the OB itself. So actually, I'm quite active because I always give an opening remarks, which can give me some motivation during when I want to start the OB, and then the closing remarks, which shows that showing that I follow the meeting well and giving what I've got from the meeting. And then besides that, in an OB meeting, we are asked to make a group presentation, and then from that, I sometimes ask and answer my friends' presentation in the OB meeting. So I'd like to move to another question. So how many chapters are presented at OB class via Zoom? What have you presented during your OB lecture via Zoom? What knowledge have you got from presenting your OB topics? Who is the best presenter? Give the reasons to your answer. So actually, during one semester, we are asked to make a group presentation, and there are 15 chapters that each group must take one of it. And the chapters include chapter 1, what is an organization behavioral, and then chapter 2, personality and person, environment fit, and then chapter 3, emotions and moods, and then chapter 4, attitudes and job satisfaction, and then the chapter 5, perception and decision making and problem solving, and the chapter 6, leadership, and then chapter 7, power and politics, and the chapter 8 is motivation, core concepts, and then the chapter 9, motivation, application, chapter 10, group process and teams, chapter 11, managing conflict and negotiation, chapter 12, organizational communication, and then chapter 13, diversity and cross-cultural adjustment, and then chapter 14, organizational culture, and then chapter 15, landing change and stress management. So what I have presented during the lecture, actually I've already presented about in the chapter 7 that is about the power and politics. So what I can get from the presentation is about the power is needed in all company and organization, especially as a leader in a company. the leader must have power in order they can influence their teammates or employees. Because it is if the leaders lack of the power, it means that they cannot influence their teammates and then they can influence their worker. So it will be hard for the company to reach the goal because some of the because the teammates will not or will disobey to the leader because they don't have a power. So besides that, about the politics in organization, so if we are talking about politics organization, or indeed, it will happen or occur in several companies and organizations. So sometimes people want to get a promotion instantly, so that's why they do a political in their workplace, like they getting rid of the employees in a bad ways. So sometimes political in organization will occur job ambiguity, scarcity of resources, and poor trust climate. So, but to handle it, we need to have a political skills. Why we need to political skill? Because political skills is about to improve our communication that will keep bonds to the employees. So that's why the political skill is really important. So besides that, it also can prevent the perception about the organization political by improving the networking ability that create the diverse constellation of contacts both inside and outside the organization. And then for the best presenter, I think it is a Stephen and Stephanie's group. Why I say that? Because as I know that they can present it well because some of my friends can be active by their presentation. Not only that, I think Stephen and Stephanie have made an attractive presentation by delivering the main points in the PowerPoint, or we can say the PowerPoint, it is include the points that is brief but clear. From that, it can be concluded that most of audience will be more attractive with the presentation based on the point itself, not the word with long words or but it don't have the points. It is a really I think it's not really good to do that because the audience will get bored. So we move to the next question. So how does OB lecture for one semester impress you? And deliver your closing comments by mentioning the benefits and the knowledge you have got from attending the OB lecture via Zoom. So actually, during this one semester, I think my lecture impressed me well because sometimes my lecture giving us some question and then some reward for them that can answer correctly. And then not only that, sometimes my lecture also give us a material and video about the OB itself, which each group when each group want to do a presentation. So we have the we have an imagination to know about the material that our friends want to present it. So from that, I'm quite interested because my lecture always support us by giving some ebook and then an article. And then I really interested with that because my lecture still carried us. Not only that, the lecture also give us a question and then give some rewards from anyone that can answer the question correctly, and indirectly it can also improve our confidence and motivation in learning OB. So about the closing comments, first of all, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Ardi Mursalin as a lecturer in organizational behavior. So about the benefit that I can get is about I can know more about the OB itself. I can implement it when I work in the company. Not only that, I also can speak confidence in front of people, and then because of my lecture also helped me in improving my speaking skill, especially in English. Not only that, I also learned how to deal with my friends, especially in their point of view, and then about the OB itself. And then it's also challenging me to understand about the point of view, and then I must understand well about their point of view, and then how I face it, how I deal it. It is really important to me in especially when I work in the workplace or the company. So besides that, the knowledge that I can get from this one semester, for example, I know about the definition of OB itself. I think OB is really important when we work in the organization or we work in the company itself. Not only that, the company may include in a several sectors like a financial and then the marketing and a human resource. Besides that, what I can learn about the personality of the workers that may relate with moods, emotions, and then attitudes, and then job satisfaction in making decision and problem solving. Not only that, in the addition, I also learned that when I become a leader, I must understand about the leadership itself, and then I must have a power in order that I can influence my teammates and then my workers. Not only that, because sometimes in the company, it may occur some conflicts. Then how I can deal with the conflicts. Not only that, I also face a diversity in a worker because I must adapt with the company's culture. That is really really important. That's why I really like to learn hobby in this class, and then I get a lot of things during this class because my friends also present it well and give us some tips when I have when we are as a manager we face the situation like that. Okay, from the knowledge I think that I can get from that, it will help me when I work in the company because if I get an opportunity as a leader, especially I know how I decide in order to reach the goal, and then how I can know about their personality, how I can find my teammates that can cooperate each other, and then I also want to implement it in order to keep the connection between the worker and will improve the job performance. So I think that is about the part A. So we will move to the part B. So the part B is about a question related to the OB theories. So I would like to move to for the first question. So would you rather work in an organization with a theory X, theory Y, or theory Z style of leadership? Give a reasons and then for your give a reasons for your presence preference. So I think I will prefer work in organization with theory Y because the leadership refers to the democratic ways rather than a theory X that is refers to the uh, autocratics. So that's why I prefer to work in the theory Y. So the theory Y also can motivate our employee to make some innovation, creative and proud with the process, and then it will also make a good result. Not only that, it also have a ready to challenge himself. Besides that, by theory Y, it will increase the job performance because the workers feel more comfortable and they feel free to give to give their own opinions. So I would like to move to another question. So what are some of the differences between the classic theoretical model as outlined of Max Weber in the other more alternative models? So the classic theoretical model is that outlined by Max Weber is about the management style focus on the hierarchies, like the seniority or levels in the type jobs. So it means like the jobs have a hierarchy. So it is have a junior and then it has a seniority. So that's why it can be say as a theoretical model. So in individual are hired or someone that want to uh, take a job from that company it will be seen based on the qualification and then promoted as they prove value and advanced skills on the job. And then the next is about the other alternative models that I take is about the scientific theory. So the scientific theory, it is made by a Taylor. So the scientific theory is based on using a data and a human strengths to increase output. So beside that, this theory will use tracking system in order to know the performance job of the workers. So I would like to move to the next question. So describe three theories of leadership and provide example for each. So actually, I've already got the three. theories of a leadership. So the first is about the grid man theory. So what is a grid man theory? Grid man theory is a theory that refers to the great leader are simply born with a necessarily internal characteristic, so such as charisma, confidence, intelligence, and social skills that make them natural born leaders. So the example can be seen from the Napoleon characters that a leader that can lead their troops or Napoleon were identified by their acts and accomplishments. So the next is about the trait theory. So the theory refers to the people inherit certain qualities and traits that make them better suited to leadership. So these theories often identify a particular personality or behavioral characteristics shared by leaders. So, for example, traits like extroversion, self-confidence, and then the courage are all traits that could potentially be linked to great leaders. So the last is about the contingency theories. So what is contingency theories? So contingency theories, it is related to the environment that might determine which particular style of a leadership is the best suited for the situation. Not only that, based on this theory, no leadership style is the best in all situations. So it means that sometimes we can do can do a leadership style based on the situation. So that's why all leadership style have their own advantages in the several in the particular sections or the situation. So from example, leadership is not just about the qualities of the leader itself, but it is about the striking the right balance between behaviors, needs, and context. So let's move to the next question. So describe various models of organizational leadership, such as trade, positional, and situational theory. So actually, trait theory refers to the people inherit certain qualities and traits that make them feel better and suited to leadership. So this theory identifies a particular personality or a behavior's characteristics shared by leaders. And then the next is about a positional theories that refers to the developed out of a social psychology to bring about the details of intersection between individuals that are positioned in a particular ways. And then the last is about the situational theories that is a referring to leaders choose the best course of action based from the situational variable. So that's why situational theories it is for a leader that a person or a leader that want to find their leadership style in the particular situations. So that is really important for the leadership that know about all situation we cannot implement in a one leadership style, but we must know about the leadership style uh, based on the situations. For example, in a situation where the leadership is the most knowledgeable and experienced member of a group, an authoritarian style might be the most appropriate. Meanwhile, where group members are skilled experts, the democratic style will be more effective. So based on that, we know both of a style. It depends on about their skills and then about the knowledgeable. So we know that about the knowledgeable, it may make a leader to be more authoritative. But if the group member are skilled expert, it will get democratic style. So we move to the next question. So how does the organization culture influence the employee performance? Explain your answer, and then your answer must be supported with a journal related to the question given. Say the author, the problem statement, the research method, and the findings in the research. So actually, the journal that I already found and then I read is about the effects of organizational culture on employees' performance. Case of Singapore Telecommunication, which is the author is Dr. Ismail Nizam. So based on the journal that I read before, organizational culture can influence the employee performance because with strong culture, it will make easy to communicate openly and participate in most efficient and effective way in the decision making and customer satisfaction. Before that, in organization culture, will have to improve a good physical environment. They will also have to motivate the employees to boost the organization performance and set the goal. That is a really important thing to set a goal, so they can reach, so they can know what the company must reach. Not only that, before that, in organization culture, we'll also have to improve the good physical environment, yeah, which they work as a these physical elements plays a very important role on an employee performance. So the next is about the problem statement that I get from the journal before. So the problem statement is about the different studies that state the individual works will performance is crucial for success of organization, particularly in the call center communication industry. So based on the problem statement, they say that it has a different study that says that individual will not have any relation with the organization culture in order to improve the job performance. So to find that, we also find the research method that gives some of the methods about the solving the problems itself. So the research method is about designing to judge the impact of organizational culture on employees' job performance at the communication industry in Singapore. From that, it can be seen there is some samples that is taken from abroad workers in Singapore companies, and the size this will taking for this research work will be 150 employees, and then are the 115 employees are based on this number of employees. We will be able to find out the effect of organization culture in performing of Singapore telecommunications staff. So the next is about the finding in the research. It shows that the organizational culture has a great impact on employees' performance, which can include the great positive and an influence of the value on employees' performance. And then increase, it also have a heroes on employee performance and a ritual positive that significant impact on the employee's performance. So I would like to move to the next question, that is about what is a stress management? Is stress management important to study? Why? How important is stress management for you as a manager, student, and child in your family? How do you manage your stress? So actually, stress management consists of making change of your life in order to reduce your stressful. So if you are constant stressful in a situation, so you must know about the stress management because it can reduce your stress. So besides that, stress management also give a benefit in preventing stress by practicing self-care and relaxation and managing your response to stressful situation when they do occur. So the next, we know that it is really important. Why? Because we know that stress management, yeah, will have to break a whole stress as in our life, and it will help us to be happier, more healthier, and more productive. And the ultimate goal is a balanced life. What a time for work, relationship, relaxation, and get rid of the pressure and make challenges head on. So sometimes stress management will help us to be more healthier, and then we will feel free. Yeah, because we know that the stress will impact with our health. So that's why we must have a stress management in order to improve our healthcare. Not only that, as a manager, I think it is important to have to know about the stress management because when you want to do your job, and then you want to increase your job performance, you have to have a stress management because I know that all of workers have their own stress because they must set the target and then they must reach the target. It is a really things that can make the worker more stressed because they must do that task. So that's why by stress management they can relax for a while and then they can take a time to refresh their mind. So that's why stress management is important as a for a manager. Maybe they can get the motivation from a seminar, or maybe asking to or tell a story with their friends. Yeah, there are so many possibilities to improve their stress management. So as a student, it is really important also because sometimes we must do an exercise, and the problem sometimes we have a perception about the exercise, then we feel afraid about the exam. Yeah, so many things. So that's why the stress management will help us to get refreshed, to get feel more free for a while, because the stress management we will get we will be calm, yeah, for a while. Yeah, we will not be nervous when we do an exam. So the stress management can be done by asking a friend, tell a story, and do things that you really like. I think that's one of the stress management strategy. So the next is about the child in the family. I think sometimes child have also have a stress, whether they must do their course, or have do their homework. Yeah, sometimes the problem is they cannot handle about time. They cannot manage the time. So that's why they must being calm, like do a stress management in order they can feel calm, and then they can refresh their mind, and then they can manage their time slowly by a stress management. Yeah, I think a lot of things for a child, maybe they have a burden and they feel they must study for the exam, so many things. So that's why stress management will help them to reduce the stress. And then actually, I think manage how I can manage my stress management. I think, for example, like finding the motivation in seminar, because it quite helped me to refill my motivation. For example, like school, like a study, and then like working, help my mother and father or any else. I think it will manage my. I sometimes to manage my stress. I also do some things that I really like. For example, like a music, like a piano, and then violin, and then I do some my hobbies like playing basketball, and there's so many things that I can do in order to reduce my stress, because stress, I think stress is really will harm our health. So that's why I want to avoid that. And then I must know well about the stress management as in my life. So the next is about to explain the differences between good stress and bad stress. So actually, if we are talking about a good stress and bad stress, it has the differences. Yeah, stress has the differences like a good and bad. So I would like to explain for the good one. Yeah, we know that the stress in the good ways, it will help us to motivate us and inspire us, and then to move to the comfort zone. So I think the stress in a good way, we can call like a eustress. So this kind of stress can actually help us to push us to get something. It can be set a challenge by stress. For example, yeah, we as a student, we may sometimes get a stress. We must study, but I think in the future we can get the benefit. It is like an investation. It's like when we do an investment. I think study like investment. Yeah, I know the journey is really hard, but the result will be better. Yeah, that's what we think. And then in the bad stress, I think it is refers to the psychologist, because this stress that involves our moods, poor concentration, and confusing. In addition, this act will make us become less motivation. Yeah, it is indeed, because it refers to the psychologist. Because when we have stress and then we don't will have a lack motivation. Yeah, because some things maybe I think it is also will impact for our study, and then will impact for our job performance when if we do if we work at a company. I think this kind things will become an obstacle for us to more growing. Yeah, when we want to doing something, because we lack motivation and cannot push ourselves to do something. much stress, it will involve our mental health and get sick. So that's why that is really bad. The stress, it will cause a sick. Then the next is about is change important in your life? Why? Why do you lead your change? How do you lead your change? And give the example. So I think change is really important because a change will help us to be a better person. Yeah, it is depend about our perception about the change itself. If the change can give our good benefit or a positive ways, yeah, I think change is really important because we will get the benefit. We will get the positive way. For example, if we really want to be a good person, yeah, we must change our bad habits to the good habits. I think this change is really good because it takes on benefits for us. And then if we think that the change doesn't have a benefit, I think change it is really useless. Yeah, because it doesn't give us some benefit or a positive way. So that's why I think the change may important if the change can give us some benefit, but the change will be not important when it don't give us a benefit. So how can I lead my change? For example, maybe I must do a consistent, I must do some list. Yeah, because when we want to change, we must know what kind of change that we want, what steps that we want to do. So that's why the first thing that we must need to we have to make a list. Yeah, in order we know about the purpose of the change itself. So besides that, the most important thing you must be I must be confident about my change, and then I must commitment about my change, because if I don't have any commitments, I think it is really useful for me to set a list about the change itself. So that's why there is the really important things that is I must have a good commitments about the change itself. And then, for example, when I want to change to be diligent or to be more to turn my bad habit to good habits, I think I must do introspection about myself. For example, I must set a introspection that what kind of bad habits that I must change it. So that's why I must have a commitment, and then I do some steps that I think when I have a commitment, that will work. Okay, we move to the next question. What you have studied 15 chapters on OB book given by your lecturer. How do you find the book on OB used in learning OB? How does it contribute to your study performance? Among the 15 chapters you have studied, which chapter is the most difficult to understand? Why? Which chapter is the easiest and why? Which chapter is the most interesting and why? What knowledge have you got from studying OB in this semester? And will you apply the OB theory in your life and at work, and why? So actually, I got the book of OB, or we can say ebook, from my lecturer, Mr. Adi Mursalin, in via WA. So my lecturer sent us an ebook to learn about the nature of OB itself, which the title is Essential of Organizational Behavior and Evidence-Based Approach. So besides that, I also find some articles in order to support my learning if I don't really understand about the meaning in the ebook itself. Not only that, actually by the ebook, it also that have been given before, it will have us to learn about the OB, because we'll get a benefit, and then we get most of learning about the OB itself. So from that, we have a support media like an ebook. Besides that, we also can maximize it by finding some article, and then some videos, and then sometimes our lecture also support us with that, an article and the videos about OB. So that's why I'm really interested to learn the OB itself. And then based on the 15th chapter, actually I have no problem about the 15th chapter. because I can understand well. But there's a one chapters that I still hard to understand. It is about the motivation core concepts because wherever it is about the motivation, I still don't understand about the core itself. What kinds of core that will motivate their employees, or what kind of concept they implement it. Sometimes I get confused about that. But to uh, to maximize it, yeah, sometimes I read an article in order to make me know well about the core concept itself. Whenever I still don't understand, quite understand about this material because it is quite difficult, but I think there is some materials that my friends present it that I still understand about this material, but not all. But I still grateful because this material still I can get it from my friend's presentation because I also asked my friends after the presentation, yeah, and then it also helped me to understand it. Thank you for the groups that give an opportunity to um, deliver these chapters. And then about the easiest chapter, I think the easiest chapter is about the chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5, because it is quite easy to understand because it is have a relation each chapters. So in the edition, this chapter is about the personality that affect in the emotion and moods and attitudes of satisfaction, decision making, and problem solving. So I think it is not really hard for us to follow the material because it has the relations between the in each chapters. So that's why I quite understand that the personality will affect the moods and then the emotions, and then it will also affect the job satisfaction. And then about the interesting one, I think the interesting chapter is about the chapter 3 because the chapter 3 is about the moods and emotions. Yeah, sometimes if we are talking about moods and emotions, moods is about how people have in their the days. Yeah, when they have a bad moods or whether they have a good moods, it also will impact to the job performance in the workplace. Not only that, about the emotions, yeah, sometimes moods will affect the emotion because why? We know that when we have a bad mood, maybe we will feel our emotion will be sad, will be angry, will be more sensitive. So that's why it is really important and really interesting to know people moods and then people emotion. This is really important because we can consider when we want to ask people, we can see from their gesture or signal it is whether it is a these people in a good mood or in the bad mood. So that's why it is really interesting because we also learn about their psychologists by looking their face, looking the situation. So in the other hand, we also make some decision because of their moods itself. So during this semester, I think I've learned a lot of things. For example, about the knowledge that I get. For example, like a personality of the worker itself, because we know all of the workers have their own personality, and if we are working in the company, we must know about their personality, whether this personality will be useful to for the corporation or maybe will be useful to improve our job performance. There are so many things that we can get for the personality itself. So that's why the knowledge that I can learn from the personality. Not only that, I also learn about the uh, good emotions and the moods. Yeah, as I explained it before, yeah, we can handle people in the good mood on the or in the bad mood. So in the other hand, we also build a relationship such as manage the conflict and then do a negotiation, improving the communication to keep bond with the workers. Not only that, the knowledge that I can get is about how I can face the diversity in the culture itself. Not only that, the diversity in the worker, and then how I adjust with the culture, organizational culture. That is really important that I can learn. So that's why organizational behavior, it is really important in the workplace, because organizational behavior not only about the um, definition, but it is also telling about how we deal with the people, personality, moods, and emotions, and then how we can have a power in order to influence our teammates, and then how we can be a good leadership. There are so many things that we can learn about the OB itself. So that's why from that knowledge, I will implement it in my worker or in my company, because I think OB is really important. Yeah, because it is about how we deal with the people, how do we deal with our worker or teammates, how we improve the organizational culture, the performance. There are so many things. Yeah, in order to keep communication, in order to keep bonds each other. So this is really important. So that's why I want to implement it. The knowledge that I get from the class to the company that I will work later. So we will move to the part C, which is a question related to OB video. Find two videos on organizational behavior. You can choose two of 15 chapters provided on OB ebook given. And you must mention the speaker and what the speaker explained and what knowledge you can get from watching the video. Okay, so the first is what the title of the video. The title of the video is about the chapter 3 about the emotions and moods. So who is the speaker? The speaker is a Professor Gerges. And then what is the speaker explain? From the videos, the speaker tells about the differences about the emotions and moods, which is the emotions and are the parts of a parcel of who we are. They cannot be separated from the workplace. And then besides that, it also in the emotion, it also divided in the brain system. For example, there is a brain system that will affect us, like a limbic system, which is it will control our emotional, and the prefrontal cortex. It is about when we think about the rational things. And then besides that, emotions will be divided as six, such as anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, and surprise. Sometimes emotions have relation in thinking, feeling that decides someone to make a decision. So there are sources of emotions and a mood, such as personality, weather, day of the week, and then stress, social activities, sleep, age, and gender differences. And then the types of the emotions, such as a felt, displayed, like a surface acting and a deep acting. So it also so the speaker not only also giving the differences, but it also about giving the things that will impact our emotion or moods. Not only that, about the knowledge that I can get from this video, we know that sometimes there are some environments that will impact our moods or emotions, or the situation maybe for the weather, or maybe the day, or some else. Not only that, there's several factors like the external and the internal factors. From the knowledge that I can get, we must understand about when the people have a bad emotional and then have bad moods, and then how we deal with it, and then when the people have a good moods or emotion, how we deal with them as well. So that's why it is really important, the knowledge that I can get from that. This video is about the differences about the motivation, about the moods and the emotions, and then also what the impact, what the effect of the moods and emotions. Not only that, and then how to deal with them when they have a bad mood or emotions. And then the next is about what is the and then the next is about the second video is about the perception that I get is about the perception. That is the title of the video. So who is the speaker in this video? The speaker in the first video, in the second video, is Emily McWorthy. So what do the speaker explain to you in this video? Actually, this video tells us about some perception that we take. For example, some the perception we must understand about the perception process, and then the process perception, how we make a sense of things, how we make a judgment about the things, and then basically people make a sense of things based on their references like their background and then the environments, culture, and then the many more. So sometimes perception will comes over to people in the first impression because they don't know well about their background. I think it is really normal because people have the first impression to the person about them. And then not only that, the perception also divided as three. The first is about the selection, organization, and interpretation. So I will explain about the selection. Selection is a process we choose something we focus on. For example, if we are in a classroom, there are not a lot of things going on in class. And then there are other students, a teacher, people outside the class. And then about the organization itself, in the perception of the organization, it is about the process to analyze what the teacher is doing. For example, when we must put our brand and then we must concentrate and when our teacher explain about the things that they maybe the material that they want to give, and then the easiest way to use the perceive or organization is by looking the idea. Sometimes people have a lot of ideas, so that's why we people just their idea based in the organization itself. And then the last is about interpretation. So interpretation is about if a teacher is talking about us with a very loudly voices, or maybe write in underlining words what he is saying or she is saying. It is really pointing to the word that he wrote on the board, and then you analyze and put it all through your own friend on references. In your experience, when someone is pointing on work, you think that the teacher really wants you know about the word itself. So when people giving underlining about their words, I think that sometimes it refers to the points about the things that they want to explain. So that is a really important about the perception itself. Yeah, because we can know can perceive by the example that I've explained before, like giving underlining words or maybe explain in the loud voices, and then so many ways that will give a signal about the important words that the explainer want the audience know. So I think about the knowledge that I can get from watching the video, second video, yeah, it is about the perception. Yeah, we cannot perceive the things based on the background, based on the culture, based on the race, and there's so many things. Perception, sometimes perceptions will become true because when people always perceive, they have a natural perception about the people. Sometimes it will become right, but sometimes too much those perception, it will harm ourselves itself because um, we will not use our rational thinking in order to value people. We just use our perception to follow people. Sometimes it is bad, but sometimes it is good because when we do a perception a lot, we will have a natural things. Yeah, we can do the perception it right, but sometimes it also have a bad things, yeah, because we cannot think in a rationality. So that's why the knowledge that I can get, yeah, we maybe perception may be um, useful for us, but sometimes too much perception it will not for good for us as well. So what are the knowledge that I can get after I watching the two videos? I think the first is about the knowledge of the puts at emotion because we will know about how will affect our the performance of working because we may know which worker still comfort and not with the not comfort with the job itself. So that's why with the mood and then emotions, we can get the knowledge itself. We can know that the people is not in good mood. It also can refers to the perception itself, because with the good mood and the bad moods, with a sensitive way, I think with the perception, it can also help us when we decide want to talk with these people, and then it also decide or avoid us in order we can know that we can perceive that these people in a good mood, or whether in a good mood nor or in a bad mood. So I think the knowledge is really have a relation between the moods, emotions, and the perception. So I think that is about um, the answers that I can answer. Yeah, I think that's all about the video. I hope all of you can enjoy this video, and thank you, and see you for the next video.